the third quarterfinal of the 2026 World Cup just ended, and it opposed Norway against England. That's a game that England won because of their superiority. There is nothing that was undeniable. No matter what people want to complain about, England deserved that victory, if deserving means anything. But even before going to that, I would like to just first share some thoughts on. At first, we have the tragic death of Jaden Adams, a player from South Africa. He played the 3 games of the group stage for South Africa and also the game against Canada. And unfortunately, just now, about 2 weeks after his arrival back to South Africa, he was found dead. And I think that's tragic. We do not have any detail on the cause of his death, but I just know that that deserves to be mentioned, that deserves to be acknowledged. So obviously, our best thoughts and prayers are going to his family. Second, related much more to the game, is that if you do remember, Norwegian Air and British Airways made a bet. The losing team will have the company having the winning company's logo. So what happened is, like, I checked and I saw that this morning on their website, Norwegian Air has the British Airways logos on them, and I think it's pretty fun. I think it's pretty cool to see that. To see first that football has such a big impact, so much so that even multinational companies literally are just betting and just having fun, and also for us just to see that we can have some fun in the games too. You don't have to take that serious of a game, even if at this point for some people it's pretty serious. So there's that. The third thing that is related to the game is actually that we need to understand the background. It is that Norway and England, they know each other really well, because some of the players from Norway and some of the players from England has played against each other and also have played with each other. And the biggest bromance of that game is definitely Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham. Both players knew each other from the time that they were playing together in Borussia Dortmund, which was in 2020 to 2022. Both of them were players, and that's how they just became really good friends. What's interesting is that after that, Jude Bellingham went to Real Madrid, and Erling Haaland, he went to Manchester City. So every time they see each other was really to play against each other, and yet their friendship remained very strong. And I think that it's something to acknowledge. That is that when you share some very strong bond with somebody, and that bond will be put into the test when you're playing against each other, when you try to win against another, I think you should separate between the competition aspect and the human aspect. And I think that's pretty good. The same way with Mbappe and Hakimi. Both of them were playing in the same team and are very best friends. But when the competition comes, you can put your friendship aside. And it should not affect your relationship with the player, because both of you want to win. So just congratulations to both of them to just succeeding to reach the quarterfinal. Unfortunately, only one of them won. And as you know, England did it. Why? Because England was actually Bellingham was walking on water. And when I say walking on water, it's an analogy of how fantastic he was. He was incredible. And he deserves all the respect for it, because he made the equalizer, the goal that equalized the game, because Norway scored first. And then after that, he was the one that just took the lead. He gave the score to England to take the lead, and which this is remarkable. He was really good. And just on that second goal, by the way, this is a copycat of the second goal of Spain against Belgium. Same goal. It's just different jersey. What do I mean is that the player had the ball, and within 10 yards around him, there was not a soul to just defend the ball, to just defend. So he was really on his own, and he had all the time in the world to decide whether he's going to kick the ball, whether he's going to pass it. He could think about what he was going to eat for dinner. That was crazy. And after he just took the shot. Same shot. Goalkeeper made the same mistake as the Belgium goalkeeper. He just, instead of blocking the ball or putting it on his side, he just put it right in front of him. Bellingham was in front and just pushed it into the net. That is just the way it is. So you can see that games have some similarities, which is very interesting. So that is that. On the Norwegian side, what is interesting to notice is that the Norwegian team was very weak, absorbing a lot of pressure, having almost a poor football before the first water break. Because after that, I don't know what happened. I don't know what was in that water, but they turned into Vikings. And when I say they turned into Vikings, they were really good. They literally took the ball and just dominated the British. And so much so that they scored the first goal. That first goal was a tremendous goal. That kid, who's 20 years old, he will remember this as probably the greatest goal that he's ever scored. In a quarterfinal against England with such a tight angle, the goal was fantastic. One of the best goals in the tournament. And he was proud of himself. When you saw he was standing, that was such a beautiful goal. So that is wonderful. I just love it. And so now the question is, should we allow water breaks? Or should we just remove it after the World Cup? The reason why I'm asking that question was because before the World Cup started, when the American said that we're going to have to add water breaks because of heat and everything, everywhere outside of US were outraged. Because they thought that they were saying that Americans want to Americanize our football and they want to add their crappy quarters instead of having halves and everything. And I understand, because I was kind of in the same wagon. I was believing the same thing. I was like, now I'm like, in US they love to split things in quarter and having long breaks. Each team have always like some 3 or 4 timeouts. The reason why is because it really helps the viewer to just if the viewer needs to go to the restroom, if you need to grab a drink or a snack. I'm like, that's very much business oriented. And when you watch football are just 2 halves. The only break is the half break. That's it. And after that, the players just keep playing for 45 minutes, running and all these things. And I was like, yeah, it is. And once, after 2 or 3 games, I noticed something. I'm like, interesting. And I didn't say anything. I just let it go. And right now, I can tell you that to me, hydration breaks, water breaks are one of the best things that was implemented in this 2026 World Cup. Why? Because before, and I've watched hundreds, if not thousands of games, before, oftentimes I could see players just on their face. I'm like, wow, that guy is dehydrated. That guy is just like borderline going to a cardiac arrest. He's just exhausted. He's in pain and everything. Because it was so long for them. They had to play for 45 minutes under the sun, running, without drinking, it's exhausting physically and it's exhausting mentally. Because when you make a mistake, you do not have anybody to back you up and be like, don't worry about it, it was fine. You did good. So I've seen so many players that look like crap at the end of it. Now, I've seen games that at the regular time, they went to overtime. And when I look at their face, I'm like, wow, that guy looks fresh. That guy looks like he can keep going for another 2 hours. And this doesn't mean that he can do it, but it just means that the way that he's showing himself, I'm like, yeah, that guy is strong. He's still mentally strong. And why? I think that water breaks contribute to it. Because when you have a water break, you don't only replenish your body with water and you try to freshen up, you try to relax a little bit, but it's also mental. Mentally, you have the coach coming to you and said, okay, you are a little bit short on here. Maybe if you try to just apply that way, which help you. You have all of the fans or even your teammate that come and they'll be like, you did a great job. I love the tackle that you did here. The pass was great. And so this kind of bring you back into it. You're just like, oh yes, you're just motivated again, which is important. which is the type of thing that you cannot do when the game is 45 minutes, a long stretch. So that's the reason why I think that water breaks is great for the body and is great for the mind as well. However, the water break should stay under a minute. Don't give me water break of 5 minutes, because that at that point I'm like, yeah, okay, now it's much more like business related to try to put commercial than anything else. So I want water breaks. I actually gonna say that I would like for them to implement water breaks right now in every game, whether it's international tournament or friendlies or clubs. I want it every time, but it has to keep it less than a minute. I just love it. So that's my take on water breaks. And after that, I would like to say like Nusa is a fantastic player for Norway. Nusa is great. He's young. He's full of energy. Have incredible skills. His problem, once again, is the fact that he's immature. Immature, not like he's a child, but he doesn't know when to go for something and when to not go for something. There are times you see there are 3 players. He wants to go dribble, and I'm like, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're gonna waste your energy for something that is very improbable, very unlikely for you to get anything out of it. Pass the ball. If you see one player you want to dribble, go for it. And I think that's what it is, because he's young, he has full of energy, and he want to show off a little bit. He want to show his skills, which is true, and he's very talented. But over time, it will come that eventually it will be like, yeah, no, that's not what. Let me pass the ball. Now it's going to be like, yeah, I should choose, so it's just a matter of wisdom, I guess. Wisdom that you can only get with time. So that's that. But it's great, and I just love every time he enters for Norway, I'm like, wow, Norway has like a big breath of fresh air going into the team. That's fantastic. Now let's talk about something that is controversial, that a lot of people have complained about, is about Soloth, that wasted an incredible opportunity by not passing the ball to Haaland. Well, first and foremost, the major issue was that people were not complaining necessarily about the mistake, but they were giving it bad intent. They said that Soloth, he think that is the main character of this World Cup. He think that he's the hero of Norway, and he probably hates on Haaland. He's jealous of Haaland. All type of nonsense. And yes, I said nonsense. Why? It's because you acting like you know what's going on. It's easy to act that way as a viewer when you're sitting on the sofa, when you have like chips, some soda here, and you're watching TV, and you're like, that's easy for you to make conclusion like this. And you have a bird eye view of everything. You're like, oh yeah, that player is free here, that one has, oh, you have at least 10 seconds before you're getting caught up. And it's easy. When you're on the field, when you're in a ring, when you're in a court, when you're actually playing the game, reality is completely different. It's completely different. Soloth at that moment, he knew he was probably the biggest game of his career. He knew that he had an incredible opportunity. He also knew that he had players that were coming right behind him. Whether he had 1 second or 3 seconds or 10 seconds, that was not part of his knowledge. He just knew that people were coming and were going to cut his leg. That's what he knew. He also knew that he had to make the perfect move to make it happen. Just that idea of making the perfect move at the perfect time is a lot of pressure. Okay? And he was facing a goalkeeper. And there was one defensive player that was against him as well. So it means that he didn't have like an hour to think about what best move to make. All this to say that what he did was a mistake. Yes. Do not attribute or do not give him any bad intent. The guy was evil. The guy was wanting to mess up the national team. That's not true. There is no player at that level of the competition that is thinking, you know what? I could make the right thing and make our team win, but screw my teammate. Screw the coach, screw the team, screw the country, screw my family, screw history. No team, no players are taking that way. So my point is that do not attribute to malice what could be explained to incompetence. Okay? Don't put bad intent to people when the logical explanation is just that person messed up. And that's what it was. He messed up. he messed up and blame him for it. Yes, he should pay the consequences for it. Yes, the same way that if he would have succeeded, he would have received all the praise. Absolutely. But do not say that he secretly hated Ireland and he wanted just to screw the whole team. And no, I disagree with you on that. I completely disagree with you on that. That you should not think of that. So that's the reason why I do not blame Sorloth because I do not blame Sorloth because of bad intention. I just blame him because, well, he sucks. At that moment in the game, he could have passed it to Ireland and the thing could have been different. It could have been. Maybe Ireland would have not scored it. But what we think of, it could have been different and he didn't make it happen. Blame him for it. Nothing else. Keep your morality, your judgment for yourself. Keep it for yourself, okay? So that's that. After that, I have two last things to talk about. First, the goal that was denied for Norway. I understand it. That's funny because at the beginning I did not understand it. I thought that it was BS. But when you think about it and when you hear people talk, you kind of realize that yeah, there was some right because he made the foul before the play started. If you make a foul before the play started, it officially says that the play has to be done again. And that's what happened. Unfortunately, when he made the start before the play started, the play ended up with a goal. But does that change the fact that the play has to be redone? No. So that's what happened. It's painful, but that's what happened. I'm pretty sure that the entire Norwegian and the people that support Norway would have been happy if the play happened. If the play was completely messed up, no goal would have been scored, and the referee would have come to be a call because of a foul. The play has to be done again. People would have been like, "Yes, second chance to do it again." Yes, it's just because of the outcome make you think that it wasn't fair. It was entirely fair. And finally, the topic is like, why did Ireland disappear in that game? It's easy because Ireland is not good. That game it wasn't good, but it's not. That game exposed Ireland's limitations much more than its qualities. What do I say? Let's pick Ireland and Mbappe. Both of them are forward. Some people might say that Mbappe is a false forward or is a false number 9. Whatever. Ireland and Mbappe. Ireland is extraordinary because if you give him the ball, he can score. He can score if he's falling, if he's running, if he's jumping, if he's breathing, if he's just walking. He can score. We know that. The guy is a machine for it. But if you don't give him the ball, can Ireland go on the side and dribble and just cross the ball? No. Can Ireland just literally get the ball on his own and just no? Ireland is the type of guy. Is a terminator to finish. So if you have everything and you have a last ball to give for somebody to shoot, give him to Ireland, is going to score. But if you want somebody to create an opportunity, somebody to get the ball himself and try to make a move to just say, Ireland is not that type of guy. He's not. And the problem was that England probably knew about that. Certainly knew about that. So what they did, they just stopped the line between the midfield to feed Ireland the ball to score. So Ireland could not touch the ball. The only time Ireland touched the ball is when he went back to go and get the ball himself. The problem is that he doesn't have a good ball handling. So he couldn't do anything. So what happened is that Ireland, his biggest limitation is to play with the ball. And he was exposed to it because that's the only thing he could have done to have the ball. After that, to be fed the ball to score, he couldn't do it because he couldn't receive the ball. So Ireland was completely invisible. And what should the head coach do? Change him, substitute him. And he was right. Why? Because playing at 11 players, but as if you just like 10, because one in forward cannot have the ball, just put somebody instead that would be less lethal, for sure, than Ireland. But at least that other substitute could be able to just dribble a little bit, try to just help create opportunities, things that Ireland couldn't do. So that's entirely fair that Ireland was substituted. And that's just regrettable because there's some games, that's what it was. Other games, Ireland are just fantastic, but there's some games, once every, 5-6 game, Ireland just disappears. Because that's just what it is. But that's also the reason why he's so lethal when he has to score too, when he gets the ball. And eventually, that's just what happened. So that was my post-game analysis on that quarterfinal between Norway and England. Now that England have won, let's see what will happen next. Bye.